And we are live. Welcome to the newest episode of Ask Me About My Draculas, a show where we explain supernatural TV, books, and movies. I am one of your hosts, Kel McDonald. I make comics that you can find at kelmcdonald.com.
And I'm your other host, and my name is Ma'at Crook, and you can find me on Twitter at MAATCROOK. I also do comics and stuff, and so many other stuff. Yeah, that's me.
And I'm a guest, right? Is that, or am I a host?
You are our guest this week.
Yeah, I am Kevin Panetta. I do a comic called Zodiac StarForce that's coming out in August from Dark Horse Comics, and you can follow me on Twitter at Kevin Panetta, or check out the Zodiac StarForce Tumblr just at zodiacstarforce.com.
And for those of you who haven't seen the show before, we always have one person, or in this case, two people who haven't seen what we are talking about, and it's their job to ask questions. And this week we're talking about the anime, Is This Zombie? So before I start explaining it, I'm going to ask Ma'at, what do you think it's about? And then Kevin, I'm going to have you explain what you think it's about, based on just the title.
Just based on the title, I picture a zombie wandering around looking for food and asking themselves, is this zombie? Is this food? That's what I think.
Kevin, what do you think it's about?
Wait, so it's called Is This Zombie?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a feeling that's probably a very badly translated title.
So if it's an anime, right? So yeah. I'm guessing it's going to be about someone who falls in love with somebody and they're not sure if they're a zombie or not.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you that the way I found this and picked it is, Kevin, since you're our guest and Zodiac StarForce is a magical girl comic, I basically typed into Google magical girl supernatural. And this was the only one that had both vampires and supernatural stuff and magical girls. And I'm like, well, we'll explain this so we can transition into then asking Kevin about his comic.
So does this have this has vampires in it as well?
Yes.
Okay. Are we to the part where I ask questions yet?
You can just interrupt me at any time, so you're allowed to just jump in with a question whenever.
Okay. So does this have Draculas in it?
It does have Draculas in it.
It does have Draculas in it. But does it have zombies in it as well?
Yeah, the main character is a zombie because he was murdered, and then a sorceress brought him back to life, and now he has to take orders from her. But she can't talk for some reason, so she just hands him notes.
So the zombie is more of like a traditional zombie, not a like I'm gonna eat your brains George Romero zombie.
Yeah, he has to take orders from a sorceress lady.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like this anime is awful and is everything that's wrong with anime.
So let's see. Where should we start? So how is it in a high school?
It is in a high school.
Okay. And how do magical girls fit into
So the first episode, a magical girl tries to kill the main character because he is a zombie and an undead fiend. And somehow him being a zombie means that when she tried to use her powers on him, he accidentally absorbed her powers. So now this zombie is also a magical girl.
And is the zombie a girl?
It is a dude.
Okay, so he's okay. So
cue a lot of transphobic jokes about cross-dressing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
That's not good.
When I said it's everything that's bad about anime, that's I wasn't kidding.
And when is this from?
This was made in 2009, and it ran till 2015.
Oh, whoa.
So I guess it's still running as a manga.
Okay. So they're probably just dragging out the story forever, like a lot of manga.
So the zombie guy accidentally steals this magical girl's powers, and now he's a magical girl. So now all these demons are trying to attack him. He lives with the sorceress lady who gives him orders, and then the magical girl trying to figure out how to get her powers back moves in with him as well, and then a ninja vampire does too. So while it's advertised as magical girl stuff, it's actually a harem manga.
Oh, okay. Oh boy. So what's like the end game for anybody? Like what does the sorceress want?
It seems like she just brought him back to life so she'd have a boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
Their relationship, like she can't talk though. Like she has no lines.
How did she bring? Did she?
There and glares at him, and then occasionally hands him notes to say, "Bring me food."
All right. This doesn't sound very good at all.
No, it's not a good anime at all.
So, is this the kind of stuff you guys usually talk about on here?
We talk about anything with Dracula's in it. We've talked about good things and we've talked about bad things. So usually it turns out that what we're talking about is terrible.
So
Yeah.
does this have an actual like Dracula named Dracula in it?
No.
Okay, it just has a ninja
We just
vampire.
call them Draculas because that's funnier than calling them vampires.
It is definitely funnier. So
The vampire ninja lady has
what's her end game?
gigantic breasts that barely fit in the tube top she's wearing.
Okay.
And they flop everywhere. And there's a lot of, like, panty shots. Like I said, this is everything that's bad about anime.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. So is there anything good about it?
No.
No.
He finds out that the person who murdered him was the last zombie that the sorceress created, which is basically her ex-boyfriend.
And is he still alive?
Yeah, he's mad that they're not dating anymore, basically.
Oh, this sounds really bad. So it's like Tenchi Muyo or something, but just with a bunch of like.
But if Tenchi was a pervert, because he is also like super disrespecting all the ladies that he lives with.
Oh, so it's like Tenchi Muyo or Ranma if it like starred the dad instead of the.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave me the option to watch this or not watch it, and I think I made the right choice by not watching.
Yeah, you definitely did. Yeah, it's like this is the summary that Wikipedia has. It's the main character is a zombie resurrected by a necromancer after being killed by a serial killer. As he tries to make the best of his undead life, he encounters a magical girl and inadvertently steals her powers, forcing him to become a magical girl in the process.
So what do we know about this magical girl? Is she?
She's, I think, from another dimension, because she talks about the school that she goes to and complains about Earth rules.
But she goes to high school now, right?
No, she just hangs out at his house. None of the girls go to high school, just the main character.
Oh, jeez.
So was she just there to get the powers and then otherwise she does nothing?
Let me see. I'm gonna try to like in the episodes I watched, she doesn't really do anything. Like she sometimes tells him like exposition on how to defeat the demon that's attacking him because she's been doing it longer. But let's see. She is ordered by her teacher to hang out and try to get her powers back. So there's apparently a magical girl school in her dimension. And yeah, no, it seems like she's just there to get her powers back.
This seems like a hard show to watch.
Yeah, like I said, I watched 3 episodes of it. The ninja vampire has a more clear goal. She wants to be the necromancer lady's apprentice, and is basically hanging out until she can get like necromancer lessons. So then she can be a necromantic vampire ninja.
Okay, I mean, that's a reasonable career aspiration.
Yeah.
Is she like an assassin?
I guess so. They just say ninja, and it's really unclear about what she does. I guess there's a vampire ninja war that we don't see.
Of course there
She
is.
says that she needs the powers to help her people.
Now, so since you've only seen 3 episodes of this, though, it could
There's
get
only 12, so I did get like a fourth of the way through it.
Oh, okay. Wait, so there's only 12 episodes and it's been running since 2009
Like
until...
the manga has been running for a long time.
Oh, but maybe that's where all the good stuff is. Maybe that's where you get the backstory of the ninja vampire war. Maybe the sorceress finally learns how to talk.
Well, it's not that she doesn't know how to talk. It's basically like the explanation for why she doesn't talk is her voice is so powerful that her talking warps reality.
Oh, she's like Black Bolt.
So she like made him come back to life by saying, "Hey, come back to life."
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a guy named Black Bolt from the Inhumans who kind of does that, right? Well, he doesn't bring people back to life, but if he talks, it like kills everybody.
Yeah.
Blackabolt. I think his full name is Blackagar Boltagar. Which if I ever have a kid.
Isn't he gonna be in one of the movies soon?
Yeah, they're doing an Inhumans movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the Inhumans are popping up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, which is probably much easier to talk about than the...
Yeah, this really bad thing.
I don't know that I have any more questions about this show. It just seems really bad. I'll say that.
Yeah,
That's definitely
it's really bad. If anyone's morbidly curious to see like everything that's wrong with anime, it's free to watch on Hulu. And yeah, no, there is not a whole lot going on except for terrible things. Like I said, transphobic jokes, then there's homophobic jokes, and then there's sexist jokes, and then there's the main guy sexually harassing all of the female cast. And yeah, no, it's awful. No one should.
So what is the best Dracula's show that you guys have talked about on here?
Well, Buffy was the first episode, and I know that you're a big fan of Buffy.
Yeah, I have a Buffy podcast.
I've listened to your Buffy podcast.
It is on hiatus right now. It's called Ep by Ep, but yeah, we'll hopefully come back soon. My roommate Brooke Allen did the podcast with me, and she moved away, so we got to figure something out.
We talked about The Hunger and The Addiction.
And those are good.
I don't know The Addiction. The Hunger is like a 90s like Showtime show or something like that.
No, it's a movie with David Bowie as a vampire.
Oh yeah, the actual movie. Yeah, the movie's great. They made a TV show out of that. That was not as great.
It was awful. But I don't know how like it wasn't even loosely based on the movie. It seems like they just took the name.
I guess that's a weird thing to do because like is The Hunger even like a super recognizable thing to call your TV show?
No.
Yeah. Have you guys done like Vampire Diaries?
Oh yeah, we did. Well, so we used to have Cara Leopard as a guest, and then she just didn't have time for it, so Ma'at took over. So Vampire Diaries was pre-Ma'at coming in, and we explained how I explained how Vampire Diaries is a soap opera that's on fast forward.
And then it has a spin-off show, right, called The Originals.
Yeah, The Originals. We haven't talked about The Originals yet. I guess we can talk about that.
Oh, I don't know anything about that. I just know that
The Originals is someone saw like a bunch of like gangster movies and thought all this like turf war stuff would be really interesting if it was vampires and werewolves and witches instead of different mobsters. So it's set in New Orleans, and really the whole show is just power struggle between those three supernatural like beings. And none of them are good guys. They're all like equally like murdering people left and right.
And this is and that's a prequel to the Vampire Diaries.
No, that's just a spin-off. Like one of the characters went off and was like, I used to live in New Orleans and I've decided I'm going to take it over again. And so he left Vampire Diaries and then went to New Orleans to take over.
How does a vampire take it over, though? Like,
basically wants to run the supernatural community.
So He's like a moderator on like all the supernatural.
He wants to be the godfather of the supernatural community.
So what's the equivalent of like drug running or alcohol running or?
You know, they don't ever really make that clear. They don't really ever make it clear as to why it's a good idea to control New Orleans.
I mean, you get a lot of beads.
Yeah. It was. So yeah, so it starts out with like, so the main character and his family are the original vampires. All vampires come from them. His protege is currently in charge of New Orleans and is doing such a good job that he's basically kicked all the werewolves out, and he has somehow blackmailed all the witches into not using their magic. So the main character basically like goes to the witches and goes, you know, it's kind of shitty that he's not letting you use your magic, and he like makes an alliance with them to overthrow his former protege, so then he can take over the vampires. And then when really he should have just killed him, because he's strong enough that he could have done that.
So like I feel like the originals, from what I understand, is not a great show, but I think in comparison to Is This Zombie that we were talking about,
Yeah,
it sounds really, really good.
I got a little bit bored because, like, when none of the characters are really likable, you don't super care who wins.
Yeah.
So is this vampires, werewolves, and what's the third one?
Witches.
Oh, witches. Oh, witches are cool.
Yeah, but like the witches are just as bad. Like they're sacrificing people left and right. Like they're not like Willow and Tara witches on Buffy. They're like, so if we murder this little girl, we'll get superpowers for a day or whatever.
So there's no characters that you care about at all.
Like, basically, I liked Vampire Diaries because at least like all the horrible characters are like snarky and witty and kind of fun to watch when they're running around murdering people and having their like dumb love triangles. But I feel like the originals is a little bit too dry.
Well, it sounds like just like it's a spin-off of just bad guys doing bad guy stuff, and they didn't turn anybody into a good guy, which is usually what you would kind of do, right?
Right. Like, there's, like, sympathetic people on each team, but they're, like, spread out and don't get a lot of focus. Like, there's a therapist lady who starts helping the vampires because the main vampire guy wants to bang her, and then she finds out, like, the witches killed her uncle or whatever, and then, like, the werewolves seem to be the only ones that have a goal that actually helps them, because no werewolves can control their powers in the originals. But the witches figure out how to give them magic rings that let them control their powers. So they're like, well, if we help the witches take over New Orleans, we can decide when we turn into a wolf.
It sounds a little bit like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
With vampires and werewolves, where everybody's just a jerk.
But,
Yeah,
like, there's really no benefit to winning, though. Like, when you said what's the like, there's no money involved. There's no, like, political power involved.
You don't get like $1 million if you win.
Like, in Game of Thrones, they're at least the ruler of, like, Westeros if they win, and everyone has to listen to them. Whereas, like, it just seems like, who cares? And in fact, the one likable character is, like, left after season 1, because they're like, this is all really, like, who gives a shit about New Orleans? And then leaves.
Or who gives a shit about this war?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just like, who gives a shit? They're like, who gives a shit about this TV show? I'm going back to Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, exactly. So, Kevin, why don't you explain what Zodiac Force is about?
Oh, Zodiac StarForce. It is. Sorry. Oh no, it's fine. It is a comic that I've written that is coming out on August 26th from Dark Horse, And yeah, it is a magical girl comic. Are we doing Ask Me About My Zodiac StarForce?
Yes,
Yeah.
we're doing that now.
Yeah, so what do you want to know about it then?
So I know that the team is all based on the Zodiac. Do the villains have a similar like Zodiac connection, or like where are these monsters coming from?
Now, yeah, I don't know how much I should say, but I'll say there's sort of like an ancient war between like light and dark, and these two goddesses that kind of run the cosmos and balance each other out. And so the villains come from sort of the dark side of that,
Okay.
which is a thing that's been going on basically since the beginning of time.
So there's the evil half of the Zodiac and the good half of the Zodiac?
No, in this story we see just 4 members of the good part of the Zodiac. They're Aries, Taurus, Pisces, and then the main character is Gemini, and that's Emma. And the whole story is basically told from her point of view. And when it starts out, we catch up with them kind of 2 years after they beat all the bad guys. So
Okay.
their team is kind of drifted apart from each other, and they're kind of broken up when the story starts.
All right. So
And then, oh yeah, go ahead.
do they really quickly get back together, or is there conflict trying to get everyone back?
There's a little bit of both. Like some stuff happens, and some of the team are convinced that they need to get back together, and then some of them don't want to for reasons that kind of get revealed later on. Some bad stuff that maybe happened when the team was first doing stuff.
Okay.
So there's a big fight that happens between the members at a house party in the first issue.
I'm gonna actually pull up that Comics Alliance article with that shows all the characters so people can see.
Oh, yeah, sure.
To ask for a description. Yeah, perfect, Kel.
I'm trying to find that. I know either you
Okay.
or Paulina tweeted it recently. There we go.
So, what are their genders?
They're all girls, so there we go.
Yep, they're all girls. Yep, the first one there is Emma. She is Gemini, and the second is Molly. She is Aries. The third is Pisces with the cute snapback, and the last one is Kim, Taurus. Kim's actually my favorite character, even though she's not the main character. But that's the way it always is, right? Like nobody likes Luke Skywalker. Everybody likes Han Solo. Everybody likes Spike. Nobody likes, I don't know, Xander or something.
Oh, I'm gonna on F by F. You're much too hard on Buffy's mom.
On Buffy's mom? Oh, okay. I can see that. I thought you were going to say that we were too hard on Xander, and I think
No, it's too hard on Xander.
Yeah, Xander is like an MRA meninist, and I hate him. But yeah, I guess Buffy's mom has a lot to deal with, I guess. But she also kind of tries to change the subject to her gallery too much for my liking. And,
I just think that you're too hard on her because, as far as she knows, she just has a delinquent child who burnt down a school building.
That is
and
true,
is
yeah.
trying to run a small business. From her point of view, of course she thinks Buffy's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I can see that. Buffy definitely burned down a gym, and that's why they had to move.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Joyce has it hard, but I'm on Buffy's side. Buffy's my friend, so.
Joyce is nice to everybody.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like her. Sometimes you just don't like people.
How did you react when she died?
Oh well, don't let Brooke watch this because that's a spoiler.
Dear Brooke, don't watch
Dear
this
Brooke,
episode.
don't watch
Spoilers
this.
for Buffy.
It was sad. But I was more sad. Big Buffy spoilers here, by the way. Well, they've already happened.
We've already spoiled Buffy. That was the first episode we spoiled all of Buffy.
Okay. Yeah, so when Joyce died, I felt sad, but it was more like because I was seeing it through the other characters' points of view. Like Anya's reaction in particular made me really sad because it was the first time I felt like we really saw Anya have a really genuinely human reaction to something, and her trying to process it made me more upset than the actual fact that Joyce was dead.
I always really liked Anya.
Yeah,
And
I think
I
Anya's great.
really like Faith and I get really mad at how much of a jerk Buffy is to Faith.
Yeah, well, I think that's because Faith represents something. Yeah, and I could talk about Buffy forever,
Yeah,
but
Buffy now. Let's just talk about Buffy.
Yeah.
well, that's because I think that Faith represents something that Buffy wants to be, even if she like knows that she shouldn't be. You know, like Faith is like to her like a free spirit, and
Yeah, it's like, so as soon as Faith shows up, Buffy's kind of a jerk to her.
Oh yeah,
the get-go, and like
Buffy's a little bit of a jerk anyway.
Buffy, so like Joyce reaches out to Faith in a way none of the other cast does really.
Well, Xander definitely reaches out to Faith.
Well, that's okay, in a sincere way, not in a Xander way.
Yeah, not in a Xander way. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, I think that Joyce sees that Faith is troubled, and I don't know. Do we ever learn anything about Faith's like mom or?
Her mom is an alcoholic because she said that she wanted a puppy, but her mom was too busy enjoying the drinking and passing out parts of life to get her said puppy.
And do we don't ever learn anything about her family beyond that, do we?
We never see them.
Yeah, we definitely never see them. Now you wrote, Kel, you wrote some Angel and Faith comics, didn't you? Is that true? Hello?
Kel? Where'd you go, Kel?
Oh, I think we lost her.
Yeah, that's weird. That's never happened.
Isn't she like the leader of the? Yeah, she should.
It's like it would totally have dropped us off the radar too. But, one of the things I was thinking about too is that I think as well as Buffy wanting to be, like there's parts of Faith that Buffy wants to be, I think also Faith is a mirror for Buffy as well, for all the parts that she doesn't like.
Yeah, which is why that episode where they switch bodies works so well.
Yeah.
Because like, first of all, they both do really good impersonations of each other, I think, which makes that episode great. Yeah, and then I think it's that Faith sees stuff in Buffy that she doesn't like about herself, but also stuff that she kind of looks up to, I think, in Buffy, and that makes some of that episode really upsetting, like where she's like in the mirror basically talking about how she's a good girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it looks like we lost
Kel.
Yeah, completely.
So now we can talk about her behind her back. So how far are y'all in Ep by Ep?
We are up to the Halloween episode, so season 2, episode 6.
The first Halloween episode?
The first Halloween episode, yeah. So we have a long way to go. Yeah, so the whole thing with that podcast is that Brooke is never, the co-host Brooke, she's never seen Buffy. And I've seen Buffy, I've probably watched the whole thing like 4 or 5 times. And so we're just going through watching each episode, and it's her first view, and then she getting her first impressions of the show as it goes through. My favorite thing though is before each episode I tell her the title of the next episode, and she tries to guess what it's about.
It's like, ask me about my Draculas.
Yeah, exactly. And so she's guessed all kinds of great stuff. Like she thought that Cordelia was a witch for a long time. She was convinced that Cordelia was going to be a witch. And some of the episodes that she's just guessed what they've been about have been pretty great. But yeah, we're finally getting into the good stuff. And then we both got really busy working on comics and kind of stopped podcasting for a little while.
Yeah, taking a break.
Yeah, and then I don't know. We got to do more, if only so she can watch more Buffy.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm back. Sorry.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, it kicked me out of the ask me about my Dracula's like login Google Hangout thing because I went to go find something in my email, and so it's still running though. We're still live.
Yeah, we were still here. We were talking about Ep by Ep, and then we were talking a lot of trash about you.
Yeah.
And yeah, just that kind of stuff. Just regular stuff.
We are still live. I think we have to all hang up the call now at the same time, though, before we'll stop being live. So usually when we talk about stuff after the show, we can't do that this time.
Well, I think right before you got cut off, I was going to ask you, didn't you write some Angel or Faith?
Yes,
Angel and
the
Faith
newest
comics?
episode of Angel and Faith I wrote, but Faith's not in that.
Oh no, but it sounds like Faith is like a favorite character of yours.
Yes.
Were you
So
disappointed that you didn't get to write a little bit of Faith?
yeah, a little bit, but like Fred's fun too. I got to write about Angel and Fred. I liked Fred a lot, and I mostly liked Faith's arc as a character.
I like Fred, and I always thought it would be really funny, if a little disturbing, to have like a sort of sitcom that's about Illyria going back home to live with her parents.
Oh my gosh. That's so creepy.
Yeah, so that'd be great. Just run it like 10, 12 seasons. I think it'd be pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I love Fred.
Yeah.
I love Angel. So do you guys like Angel more than Buffy as a TV show?
I liked Angel better because, so even though in the episode of Buffy Lie to Me, they make a point of saying that stuff is not cut and dry and pure black and white, that's not true about Buffy. Buffy is pretty much, these are the bad guys and these are the good guys. And
Except Xander is 100% a bad guy, masquerading as a good guy.
But so, like, basically, Buffy is like, here's a problem and now we have solved it. And you get that impression from the way that they're like, here's a big bad, we have defeated it. Next season, here's a new big bad, we have defeated it. Whereas Angel, I feel like, is more complicated and there's no easy answers.
Well, especially once they start working basically for the bad guys.
Well, it's also because it's like, and you get that from the fact that their villain is Wolfram and Hart, which they never really defeat. They just get a new face of Wolfram and Hart. And so it's kind of the idea is they can never win, but as soon as they stop, they lose.
Which I feel like is exemplified in the last episode of Angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which is why that's
so
such a-
I just enjoyed that